So a VPN, or better known as virtual private network, creates a secure tunnel through the internet and often used by companies for their corporate employees when they're traveling outside. But there's also something called as remote access VPN. And basically, a remote access VPN is where, as you can see on my screen, you have two locations, so Los Angeles and Sacramento, and you have a router A and a router B, which are generally both connected to the internet, and you create a from router to the router and a tunnel. Now you need a protocol that you're going to use in that tunnel, and we're going to use the protocol called IPsec, which stands for IP security. Obviously, the name speaks for itself. This is not a class about IPsec, but this video is showing you how to create a remote access tunnel. Now, every router has an interface, and in order for you to set up the router's interface, you need to basically go ahead and log into the interface. Generally, most routers come with an IP address assigned to it, and then it has a web-based browser that can be used to access the router. So in my case today, as you can see, I'm on my local workstation, which is right now somewhere along, like I could be on one of these workstations, like on router A side or on router B side. Now, I'm on this workstation, and my router on which I need to set up the remote access VPN has an IP address of 192.168.137.18. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as I log in, as you can see in the screen, I'm going to launch a standard web browser. It can be Google Chrome, Safari, whatever. And what you can do is you can just enter the IP address that I'm entering right now. As you can see, the IP address is already entered from before, and this takes me to the login interface screen. My username is admin, and then I have my password entered, and I'm going to click on sign in. And if my password is corrected, you notice I'm onto a dashboard. So this is my router's dashboard. Most routers have what interfaces you have, firewall, services, VPN. So we're creating a remote access VPN. Again, it's a VPN that we're setting up on the router so that our corporate employees or any other people can go ahead and enter that. So what we are going to do is, in order to go ahead and do that, we're going to go ahead and click on VPN. Now, VPN can be set up using many different protocols. But of course, the two main protocols are IPsec and L2TP. So IPsec is what we're going to use in here. So as you can see back on my screen, that here we have IPsec, we have layer 2 tunneling protocol. Of course, IPsec is the most commonly popular one. So here's my IPsec, and you can see it's setting up tunnel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add P1. So P1 is supposedly my remote gateway address. Now when we set up IPsec, we need a few things. The key exchange version, as you can see that it's IKE1, the Internet Protocol interface, and the one that's not entered is your remote gateway IP address. So which means that when someone is going to come in from the outside, this is the IP address that they will enter. So I'm going to go ahead and type the IP address of this router's interface, because that's going to be acting as the VPN. Now, because this is, as I showed you in the picture, because this is a router-to-router VPN, there can be a pre-shared key. The pre-shared key is very important because the pre-shared key is needed for, it's like a password. So what we have to do is, you can see the authentication method I'm using is mutual PSK. I could use RSA. Navigation mode is main. My identifier is my IP address, peer identifier is their peer's IP address, and this is the password they need to do. So right now, I can set the password to be anything. So I've set up, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, in real scenario, you wouldn't do that. And there you go. Voila. Now, you can select what type of algorithm. We've selected 256 bits. Hash algorithm is SHA-1. If you are in a cybersecurity training, you would really understand what these are. My goal here today is not to explain these things to you, but just show you that how I went to this router's interface and using an IPsec tunnel provided the IP address of the router gateway, which is the IP address that we have here, part of the network. Provided a pre-shared key because remember, as I told you, that it's between two routers, router A to router B, so it's like a standard password they're using, which is called the pre-shared key. Otherwise, you have to generate a key through a certificate server. And then finally, once you're done with that, all you have to do is go ahead and hit save. Now, once we have clicked saved, the system is going to say, hey, you know what? You have created an IPsec tunnel. Do you want the changes to take effect? I go apply changes, and voila, look, my tunnel is created. It's basically on the IKEV WAN. WAN IP address is this. Mode is main. This is the P1 protocol. This is the hash algorithm I'm using. So now, if anyone needs to connect to that, they need to provide this IP address along with the pre-shared key that I entered, and then we have our VPN established. So all you have to do is place the router at the last level, get its IP address, and use that as your default gateway. So that's basically where I'm going to stop today. Hope this was a short video, but very knowledgeable for you on how to set up a router-to-router VPN. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments